Love, light, and blessings. This is shamanicarawakpriestess, and I am doing a 21 questions tag. Originally started by, I believe, Olive, the Windy City Witch, which I have to say recently discovered your channel. Love your channel. And I resonate with a lot of the stuff that you talk about, the city and your grandfather and the island, and trying to like find that traditional stuff and connecting to our culture through our spirituality. So love the video, love the videos, love the content. And again, everybody who subscribed to my channel, thank you so much, and for all the comments. Okay, so before I ramble on for like 10 hours, but I am really grateful for all the new subscribers and the comments. I'm really grateful, guys. I didn't even think anybody was going to watch the video. So the 21 questions. And the first question is, have you written your own working spells and then share what your writing process was like? Okay, so as I said in the other video, which I won't go into like a long detail on this one, I am more of a, when it comes to like trabajos espirituales, like spiritual workings, I guess some people would say spells, it's more verbal and traditional for me, so not written down so much, like passed down from my mom and my grandma and my great grandma and so on and so forth, that are practitioners. So mostly for a lot of years, because I've been practicing for 11 years, and I always have more to learn, because I feel like we're always learning on our spiritual journeys, whatever path it is. We always, you should never stop learning. We always learn, we always adapt. So, but yes, a lot of my stuff was very traditional. Most of it still is, but I have created my own rituals and spiritual works and stuff like that. The way that I would do it, I don't write it. I wouldn't write them at first. Like I did one recently with the copa and like the los siete, like the seven powers, African powers, poderes africanos, said the seven spirits. And I did it with this beautiful big chalice and the 7 candles surrounding it, and I added some stuff and I modified some stuff because I had like a dream of casting this certain spell and like what candles to use. And then intuitively I added, because I like to work a lot with herbs, so crystals and herbs and plants, and I mean just so many things. And I also make my own essential blends as well. So I even added some of that because I love essential oils and I make them myself, and things like that. So yeah, so I did that recently, and that's how it was intuitive, and I also dreamt of it and I did it. And what I usually do when it's something that is not passed down from my mom, that comes from me, because I've kind of started to incorporate some of that too, if I feel like it had a positive result, I usually will write it down, because I am starting a book that I am hoping to pass to my daughter. I won't open it, but it's something my mom never did, but I'm actually writing my stuff. I love the gilding on this. Writing my stuff down, and my daughter's going to get this, and then hopefully she's going to keep passing it down. My other kids too as well, of course. But she's the oldest, so I figured, the oldest one could kind of keep the book. I want to give that to my kids when I pass on. So, but yeah, so if it's something that is new, I will write it down after the fact. But stuff that I've always done, I also have written that down too. I just don't want it to die with us. I want to keep that tradition going, that connection going. So yes, so I have done that, and it was intuitive, and then kind of I also dreamt it. So okay, and then 2, within my craft, what do I identify as? I identify, I am eclectic to a certain extent, but the foundation of most that I practice is Espiritismo. I do incorporate African Yoruba traditions with Taino traditions, with Espanol European traditions. I do work with, saints and Mary and Yeshua, Jesus, and Yahweh, Jehovah, and that kind of stuff. But I also do work with ancestors and angels, and I do work with some Celtic deities too. So I have like 4 of them that I work with. So while I still practice espiritismo, I have incorporated more some pagan and some like witchcraft, Wicca stuff. But I don't identify as a Wiccan because it's not, I don't practice it traditionally, and I don't really follow the read. I kind of try to do the least harm, but I don't do the no harm. It just doesn't resonate with me. I don't know why it just doesn't. It wasn't how I was taught and that kind of stuff. Okay, so I identify as espiritismo with a modern twist, but mostly 80% of it is traditional. 85%, 80, 85. Okay, have I ever walked down a different path before? Yes, I have walked down a different path, and that path for me was religion. While my mom was, you know, she was Catholic, but she also was an espiritista, and that was a way of life for her, her craft, and things like that. My grandmother and my great grandma and stuff like that. For some reason, I don't know why, but it scared me. Maybe because it wasn't explained to me. I don't know. I know a lot of our stuff was practiced in a lot of secret. So, I don't know. And when I started going to church, I started when I was 9, but I wasn't like, it wasn't rigorous. It was like a neighbor took us, and it was a very like controlled church. Like everything was a sin. Pants, cutting your hair and stuff like that. So I think after so many years of hearing that, at 15, I like really dedicated myself to it. I was going through a really hard time growing up. A lot of stuff going on there. I won't go into too much details with that, but like just some childhood traumas and things like that. And I guess I looked for church like to heal that and the community and stuff like that. But after I got older, it just became like I didn't have any freedom, and I kind of separated more and more from my mom and started looking at her like different and judgmental, and it kind of did cause a rift in my relationship with my mom. And I feel really bad about that because I started to judge her and criticize her, as did my other siblings too. And, you know, I got to the fact where not only did she hide what she did from the world, she started hiding stuff she did for her own children. And, you know, I've apologized for that as I got older, because when I went through a time and I separated from, you know, the church, my mom was there for me and she taught me a lot of stuff, and I apologized to her, and I was like, wow, this wasn't what I thought it was. I guess because like when people hear the word spells and all this, there's some people that still get scared of that, you know, and stuff like that. So, but yes, so I did that. The religious, traditional religious path just didn't resonate with me and stuff like that. So, yep, but I did do that. Okay, so let's see. Number 4 is what time of days calls out to the most to you and your craft? I have to say Saturday for some reason. To me, the week starts on Sunday. I know Sunday is a holy day for a lot of people, but for some reason, to me, Saturdays is when I am making essential oils. You know, I make little ones like this, and I use them for like besides other stuff, because I'm a very like down to the nitty-gritty. I don't use like a lot of stuff, but when I'm dressing my candles and stuff, I actually like to make my own stuff. I grew up like my mom would go to the botanicas and stuff like that, but we don't have a lot of them around. So I just like really got into like learning herbs and all that stuff and what, you know, and so kind of just put my own intentions and stuff like that. And I use them a lot for like anointing myself, anointing my stuff and my candles and tools and things like that. So, and I usually do that Saturday. And then I have like 5 altars: my working altar, ancestral, angelic altar, my wheel of the year, my like elemental type of altar, and then my actual mesa blanca that I do like my craft. Like that's where I get down to the nitty gritty, and it's in my room because I don't know, like the way I was taught was like you don't show people what you do spell and ritual wise, so like you keep it like behind a closed door. Usually my mom used to have one in the closet, and most people I knew, but I kind of like use the closet, so it's in my room. But those are the days I sage or I smoke. Like I'll burn the actual herbs in like a cauldron or like a fireproof bowl. My mom used to burn like charcoal, that kind of stuff, make like a fire, and the smoke, and like, you know, bless the house. And that's when I mop the floors. Like I always mop my floors, but like I mean spiritually. So I'll put like certain herbs and I'll make like a mixture and mop the floors to like remove the energy. And like in the rugs, I'm like, you know, throwing like pouring Florida water, or I make my own like magic waters and stuff like that. So I'm doing that. I am like cleansing myself and smoking myself and all my kids. And I have a two-story apartment, so I'm like saging and burning and stuff like that. Either sage or other herbs that because I use other stuff too. I don't just mostly use sage, but and things like that. So, or you'll see me on a Saturday smoking a cigar, like not all the time, but if I'm working with ancestors, I do a lot of ancestral work on Saturdays, and sometimes like, you know, I'm smoking things out and stuff like that. But I don't in my real life smoke. It's more of like a religious thing, a spiritual thing. So yeah, so that Saturdays is the day, like, is because I take off Wednesdays, but it's like a school day, you know, school week. So it's like I'm just doing stuff with the kids because I have like 4 kids ranging from the age of 4 to 17. So all of it in between. And being a single mother of 4 kids, like, it's hectic. And then I work full time as a psychic reader and spiritual healer. So, and that's 5 days a week. So Saturday's my one weekend day off. So it's family day, but it's also like getting the house clean and spiritually cleaning out stuff. So that Saturday's the day that, and spiritual baths in my house, that too, with the flowers and the herbs and stuff. Yes, that is Saturdays. What is your favorite incense or candle? My favorite incense, actually, I don't know, but I like the homemade stuff too. So if I'm not burning actual like herbs, because I like those the best, not gonna lie, or using in my oil diffuser, the old fashioned with the candle, you know, and it's usually oils that I blend myself. I don't really buy oils. It's this ma and pop place that I order online. It's homemade, hand rolled. It smells so good. I love homemade incense. I don't know how to make them myself. I know some people do, and I'll be watching videos on YouTube about that and like, oh, incense envy. But it just smells good, like, oh my god. So frankincense and myrrh is like my favorites, and so is patchouli. Have become my 2 favorite. Oh, and I love this, but frankincense and myrrh is like my thing. If I had to choose one, if I had to choose 2, it would be patchouli. I think that's how you say patchouli, patchouli. I have an accent, sorry about that, but yeah. And then my favorite candle, I grew up with my mother using the prayer candles, the 7-day candles, but my favorite candles are actually the little ones, the chime they call them. Love them in all colors, loving me some chime candles. I love them, love them, love them, love them. I just find them so good to inscribe. So I'll write the spell on the candle, or sigils, or runes, or things like that, or, you know. So I love them, and especially with meditating and stuff like that, because it's just, they burn faster. So it just, oh, I love it. You could just sit through the whole spell and just be like in there. So that's my favorite candles. What do you hoard? Okay, so what do I hoard? Herbs, books, cards, things like that. Okay, so that question is kind of hard because maybe my definition of hoarding isn't the same thing as somebody else. I kind of, to me, hoard all of them because I counted the other day. It was more than I thought, and I said in my first video, but I actually counted. So I have 53 decks altogether. I've been reading and using them for 4 years, so, but still, I know it's not a lot. Some people have less, whatever, but to me it is. But I love them and I own it. I work, so hey, I bought them, right? So I have 53 decks. 18 of them are Oracle and 35 of them are Tarot. They all get used, and some of them are really, really old. So, because I use a deck until they're broken. Like, I will not throw you away. and then I put them to sleep. Like once your job is done, like I don't want to throw you in the garbage. So like either like you see in my background, I'll make it into a decor. This is my living room. I have like an old tarot deck made into a wall decor. So or I'll find some other use, or I'll put them to sleep. Like I'll just put them away in like storage, and because I use them to the point where they're not even shuffleable anymore. So and then books, I have like 53 spiritual books, but like in my defense, I read them. You know. And then herbs, I only work with like 22 herbs, which is kind of a lot, but not a lot, I guess. But yeah, so that will be my answer. I kind of hoard, but I kind of justify like I use the stuff, so I don't know. Okay, so number 7 is, have you crossed over or had any contact with the dead? Yes, yes, and yes. Been having contact with the dead since I was a little girl. I don't know. Like they just talk to me and I see them like people. There's been times, I'm not gonna lie, when it's a negative energy, it kind of scares the crap out of me. I remember one time I was sleeping. I was already a woman by that time, and I had my 2 kids. And I thought there was this girl just standing, and her face was really ugh. And I guess because it was like a negative spirit, so I don't think she really looked like that, but like that's how I saw her. And it scared me because I thought it was like in a horror movie, like it really did. And of course, I rebuked it and took it out, whatever. And then there was another time, the shadow man with the top hat that's just like all dark. Because I had a neighbor, and this is already when I had my youngest daughter. We lived in this old house, and the house always smelled really weird. And I had slept over, long story short, my kids were with their dad, and with their dad, my ex and stuff. And I saw, like, I thought her boyfriend was standing over my bed, but then when I looked, like, he went through the bed. And it just felt like a very dark energy, you know? And of course, like, you know, I did what I had to do. Like, I screamed at it. Like, I scream at the spirits, and I, like, start saying my archangel prayers, you know, and you have to go. So, but I've also seen good spirits. Like, when I started practicing more espiritismo, like really getting into it and embracing my African heritage and my Taino heritage, and really, you know, like in the last 4 years, really working with my ancestors, because I was kind of always afraid to tap into that. They've told me their names, and I remember one of my ancestors, you know, because I would do like una comisión, like I would get on the white table, and I would put like the bowl of water, and I would, you know, light the candles, and I would just talk to them, and they come to me, like, what is your message? And I would call in the corners, you know, the cuadro de protección, I guess it's called the quarters or the corners. And I could see like the actual like energy of each and every one of those beings standing in each of the corners. And one of the ancestors that I had that came through, and come to find out she was an ancestor of mine, it's actually been confirmed. She gave me her name, and she was of mixed race, and she was a slave. And her baby got killed, and she was telling me, and I don't know, like I knew it was real because I was crying, and I could feel all these emotions. And she was like very like into Yoruba and like the religion that her mother taught her, and she was crying because she had to hide who she was because of that. Because, you know, there was a time that being an espiritista and embracing our Taino and African heritage, like we were killed for that. And, you know, when I started learning the history of that, it just like made me so much more tied to that. It's like, you know, honoring our ancestors, because some of them actually have given up their life, as did pagans, as did the Celtics, as did a lot of our ancestors in all cultures. You know, they just were willing to lay everything on the line for what they believed in, you know, and there's power in that. And she did. And she was what they call like a curandera, like a wise woman. You know, she knew about the herbs, and she knew how to heal people. And she was mistreated because of that, you know. And she works with me a lot, especially in my darkest times. And it's such a beautiful energy. And I remember I bought a statue in honor of her, how I see her. And she's on my ancestor. And I do give her offerings, like I do. She loves tobacco. She loves certain herbs and things like that. I really do believe in that. It may sound weird to some people, but I really do believe like there's power in our ancestors. There's power in that. Like we step on the floor outside and there's people that came before us. Their DNA is in that dirt. Like we're all connected. The ones that are here, the ones that aren't, everything in this world is connected, you know? So, so that's what I feel about the dead. A lot of honor and respect. I feel like they still have messages to give us, you know, especially, and not to get political, with our last election, the world has been very divided, and just listening to her, like, wow, you know, we may be going through stuff, but our ancestors have been through worse, right? And they made it, and we're gonna make it. So then, okay, so that was that. Name and briefly touch on interesting YouTube story you've come across. Creepy, emotional, inspirational. Okay, so the Mystical Haven here on YouTube, another channel that I like too. She did a beautiful video. I feel like it was very, very like spirit led. She uses the Gaian tarot, like that Gaian tarot, like she's just very connected. It's like her soul deck. And she pulled out this beautiful card of like an Asian man and the elements behind him. And she just gave this beautiful speech about, I don't remember the man's name. I apologize, but like she went to like a teacher. He was talking about the bees and how like if the bees cease to exist, it will affect the species and the world. But if humans fail to exist, the world would thrive. Like that was powerful when she said that. And she said, you know, she never forgot that experience. And I could see the pain in her face, like how the way we're taking Mother Earth and Mother Nature for granted, our disconnection. And that's not everybody. A lot of people are trying to like save the planet and do that stuff. So I'm not talking on that, but that makes me sad too. I don't know if it's the Taino and the Africana in me. I don't know. But like, you know, especially in the last year, like I've been trying to use more nature-based products and trying to lower my impact on Earth, because I do work, you know, a lot with Mother Earth energy and stuff like that. And so that video really touched me, because that's something that I'm really, really, really passionate about. Because I really do feel like plants are just as important as animals, and the water and the air and the fire and everything's the same. Like we're all the same. We're all equal. Nobody's better than anybody else. Plants have a conscience. And, you know, I cut a plant down, like, or I cut a weed, like I've learned now, like I thank it. Like, thank you, because, you know, you're giving up your life so I can eat. You're giving up your life for I could use you for medicinal purposes, or for me to drink you in a tea. You know, same thing with an animal. I know some people are vegan or vegetarian, but I do eat meat. But I try to eat like organic meat and more humanely treated meat. Because I was with someone also that was a very earth-based small farmer, so I got to appreciate animals a lot more, and he was very, 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 very humane than bigger corporations. And I got to see like food and him grow plants, and it gave me a different respect for stuff, because he like treated the plants and the animals the same, you know, and always prayed and always thanked them for their sacrifice. So that video just kind of reminded me of that time. And my grandfather, who was also a chicken farmer, and the way he would treat the animals and the cows and always grow things from the ground. And I remember in Puerto Rico growing, before I came to the States, I remember us eating from the earth. And I kind of miss that sometimes. You know, it gets lost sometimes. So that video meant a lot. Loved it. What is my favorite season? My favorite season is autumn and winter. Winter because I love Christmas. Christmas is my favorite time. I just love it. And autumn because it's not hot, it's not cold. It's just such, I am not a heat person. I used to love spring, but it seems like spring and summer are the same season now. And I'm sorry, I'm grouchy in the heat. Like yesterday I went to work, left a little bit early because I was sweating. Like I don't like that life. Like it's hot. I'm not nice. I'm mad grouchy. I'm usually a very nice person, but the heat just brings out, I don't know, just not the kindest girl. So, and number 10 is, what advice do you have to give to anyone facing criticism within and outside of their path. Okay, who cares? You got to do you at the end of the day. And they could do them. I believe in coexisting, and now I'm not gonna fight with you. So you're gonna say whatever you want. You a bruja. You're gonna go this. You're gonna do that. Whatever. Because I do get that a lot. I just don't even answer. I said, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. So if you know you're living your truth, because I believe there's just a whole bunch of different paths to truth and a whole different path to source. If it resonates with you and it fulfills you and it makes you happy and it feeds your soul, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, right? Number 11, and you can hear my kids in the background because there's no school today. So I'm going to keep with the video. So number 11 is the first YouTuber you've binge watched. Okay, so the first YouTuber I ever binge watched was the Mystical Haven and Kelly from the Truth and Story. And it was because of deck reviews, and Mystical Haven was because she was also a online psychic like me, and a lot of her videos like really resonated with me, and she would say certain things. I'm like, yes girl, yes. And once like she said that, like, and she reads she does things that I do too, like third-party readings, predictive stuff she did on the science, stuff like that. So we resonated on that. And then Kelly from the Truth and Story, because she just gives very detailed deck reviews. And at the time I was looking to kind of expand my collection because I read with the same deck for almost 3 years, so 2.5 years the same deck, and then I wanted to like buy more stuff and things like that. Who am I currently watching? Well, yes girl, I am currently watching Olive, the Windy City Witch, the Mystical Haven, and Madame Luna. And let's see, what are you reading? What am I reading now? Well, I'm about to get into this book, the spirits book, Alan Kardec, and it talks about like espiritismo and the beginning of, his take on it, because it's more of a European take. Like I said, it's always existed, of course, but he did add some things to it, but we always had that, But I kind of reading that right now, which you can see is a big book. And then I'm also reading a book on candles magic. I was doing an herb book. I forgot to bring that out, sorry, before I make the video. And now I'm doing one on candles because I do candle work, but you could always stand to learn more things. So those are the two things I'm reading right now. Let's see. Okay, my favorite coffee mug is the coffee mug that my Jerry Berry, my third born, my very special boy, who has far exceeded, by the way, everything the doctors ever told me when he got diagnosed. My baby has done everything so good. He graduated from 6th grade and they said he wasn't going to do it, so he's a hard worker. So he gave me this cup in last summer. I like winter, so yes, I'm drinking a winter cup at 100 degrees outside. So my favorite mug, because my beautiful 11-year-old Jerry Berry gave it to me, so that makes it special. Okay, so all right, to edit or not to edit? Not to edit, because it just takes so much time. For new witchlings, name the most informative books you read so far for season. Okay, so because it says witching, because I do have books on espiritismo and stuff like that, so I decided to, and I don't have a lot of witchy books, but when I started blending into stuff in the last year, I read this book on paganism, and I loved it. And most of the things resonated, not all, but a lot of them did. And love this because it just reminds me of the Taínos. And I am into the shamanistic stuff, so earth magic, love this book. Lots of nice rituals in here. Talks about drumming, and it's good. And then this one too, which a lot of people like too. So those were the three that I say they're good, and I like them. So okay, what is your recording device supported with? I don't know the answer to that question. I use a webcam, so I don't know if that answers the question. Sorry. Okay, tattoos and piercing, how many? I don't have any tattoos. I am a punk, and I have given birth to 4 children, and 2 of them, Well, yeah, 2 of them were natural. The last one was mostly natural. No, 3 of them were natural. Yeah, the first 2 and the last, the youngest, was natural childbirth. The second one was not. And I have to say that I've given birth 4 times, and for some reason a tattoo or extra piercing scare me. That sounds crazy, but I'm just being real with that. So I say none. Even though I would like to, I'm too much of a chicken. Do you have a support system pertaining to your craft path outside of social media? I just started the social media. My mom, to a certain extent, but she doesn't use the term bruja or witch. Like, she's like, no, bruja, no, even though she like craft stuff and does spell work, she just doesn't like that title. I don't know. I think it's because of the history too, and she's older and stuff. I think like witch now is like we're taking back the, like, I like using it because I see like it was used derogatorily, and like now it's like we're taking it back and we're making it our own thing, and I love that. It's like, you know. So my mom, to a certain extent, but I have to be honest, I don't have much friends or anything. Like, my friends are more like Christian. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and we get along fine, but like I just don't ever have anybody to talk to about my spirituality. I think that's why I created a channel and stuff like that. Yeah. And then promote yourself. Tell us about any accomplishments you've made. Okay, so I finally started my, because I do work for a service, but I started my own site that just finished uploading yesterday. Oh my god. And so I'm excited about that. shamanicarawakpriestess.com. shamanicarawakpriestess.com. And also, like I said, I've been a professional reader for 4 years. I've been very blessed and lucky because I've helped a lot of people and mostly got good feedback, and I have good clients. I actually love my clients, and appreciate their support too. And I also am very proud that I created like 32 of my own blends, and maybe someday I'll sell them. So I'm really excited about that. All my blends are 100% natural from the plants, from, that kind of thing. And I love it because I incorporate it in my brujeria, and I love it. So yeah, so those things. So my own question would be, what led you to your spiritual path? Like, when was the first aha moment when you knew that the path you're in now was the right path for you? And I tag everybody, and you can hear my son banging on the ceiling because I think he's like playing basketball there. So I think with the bang on the ceiling, I will end this video, and I apologize for all the chaos, but this is my life. It's why I work at night. Daytime is for the kids, nighttime is for work, so it gets hard to record videos, but I wanted to kind of like put another video out there. So much love and light and blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much, Mija, for posting, mamita, this 21 question tag, because I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed watching yours and so many others. So much love and light. Bye.